Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 33 of CSTGIA 2026. From verifiable digital trust to autonomous cyber assurance. When machines never stop acting, assurance cannot stop watching. This is Dr. Rhonda Farrell, the founder of CSTGIA, where last week we explored verifiable digital trust and the growing need for every consequential autonomous action to be traceable and accountable. Organizations should increasingly be able to determine who or what acted, who authorized the action, what authority was delegated, what information was used, what happened as a result, and whether that decision can be reconstructed. And lastly, whether the action can be stopped or reversed. That progression built directly upon our earlier exploration of the autonomous trust ecosystems. Now comes the next challenge. What happens when autonomous systems operate continuously, but assurance still operates periodically? That mismatch may become one of cybersecurity's defining challenges. Deloitte's 2026 Enterprise AI Research reports that agentic AI adoption is poised to increase sharply, yet only 1 in 5 companies have a mature governance model for autonomous AI agents. PwC likewise argues that AI agents are becoming workforce counterparts that require verified identities, defined roles, task-specific permissions, auditable records, and greater human oversight as their autonomy and potential consequences increase. The implication is significant. We cannot govern continuous autonomy with intermittent assurance. So the next evolution is called autonomous cyber assurance. Traditional assurance asks, did the system operate correctly? But autonomous cyber assurance must ask a more immediate question. Is the ecosystem operating within trusted boundaries right now? That requires an evolution from periodic oversight towards a continuous cycle of monitor, verify, intervene, and learn. And as autonomous systems become capable of acting, deciding, communicating, and initiating other actions at machine speed, assurance must increasingly operate at comparable speeds. So number 1, from periodic control testing to continuous control validation. Organizations cannot afford to wait for the next audit to discover what a critical control stopped working weeks or months earlier. Autonomous cyber assurance requires organizations to continuously validate whether identities, permissions, policies, operating boundaries, safeguards, and other controls remain effective. The objective shifts from periodically proving that controls existed to continuously understanding whether those controls are actually protecting the environment as intended. Number 2, we need to talk about from agent identity to agent behavior. Knowing the identity of an autonomous agent is necessary, but identity alone does not establish continuing trust. Organizations also need to understand whether the agent is behaving consistently with its identity, role, authority, context, policy, and expected behavior. Identity tells us who or what is acting. Behavior helps us determine whether that actor should continue to be trusted. And as autonomy increases, organizations will need mechanisms capable of recognizing when an authenticated and authorized agent begins behaving outside its intended purpose or operating boundaries. Number 3, from detecting anomalies to detecting intent drift. Tomorrow's cybersecurity environments will need to recognize more than unusual technical behavior. They will increasingly need to detect changes in goals, permissions, delegation patterns, decision pathways, and intended outcomes. An autonomous agent could be functioning exactly as designed from a technical perspective, while performing an action it should never have been permitted to perform. This makes intent drift particularly important. Cybersecurity must increasingly ask not only whether the system is functioning normally, but whether it is still pursuing the right objective within the right boundaries. Number 4, from human intervention to designed intervention. It is no longer sufficient to say a human can intervene or a human in a loop. Intervention needs to be deliberately engineered into autonomous environments. Organizations should be able to pause, revoke, isolate, roll back, escalate, and recover when autonomous behavior exceeds acceptable boundaries. Every autonomous capability should have an equally intentional mechanism for regaining control. Human oversight becomes far more meaningful when the intervention is not simply theoretically possible, but technically designed, operationally tested, and available when it matters. From incident response to machine speed assurance, autonomous environments will generate actions, interactions, and security events faster than humans can manually investigate each one. AI will therefore increasingly help organizations monitor and assure other AI systems. But what creates an important new question? But that creates an important new question. Who assures the assurer? Independent controls, separation of duties, immutable evidence, validation mechanisms, and clear human accountability become increasingly more important as autonomy scales. The goal should not be removing humans from the loop in the insurance lifecycle, but using automation to extend human oversight while preserving meaningful accountability. So our week 33 cyber challenge is to select one autonomous or AI-enabled workflow in your organization and examine it through an assurance lens. Can you see what it is doing right now? Can you determine whether its behavior has changed? Can you automatically recognize a policy violation? Can you stop the activity immediately? Can you recover safely? Can you preserve the evidence necessary to reconstruct what happened? And perhaps most importantly, can you learn from the event and strengthen the system afterward? Every no identifies an insurance gap worth investigating. So our closing thought is that cybersecurity protects, identity establishes actors, authorization establishes boundaries, verifiable trust creates evidence, but autonomous assurance continuously asks whether that trust is still warranted. As machines gain the ability to operate continuously, organizations cannot depend exclusively upon assurance mechanisms designed for a world of periodic human action. The next generation of cybersecurity must become increasingly continuous, adaptive, evidence-driven, and capable of intervention at the speed of autonomy. Because in an environment where machines never stop acting, assurance cannot afford to stop watching. Again, this is Dr. Rhonda Farrell, the founder of CSTGIA, bringing you week 33, from verifiable digital trust to autonomous cyber assurance. When machines never stop acting, assurance cannot stop watching.